All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. I want you to picture a very specific, honestly kind of heavy scene. You're sitting in your car in a dark strip mall parking lot. The engine is off. The keys are just sitting there in the ignition. You're staring out the windshield, stressing over rent, running the math in your head on exactly how many paychecks you have left until your bank account hits zero. It's this quiet, exhausting moment that, let's be real, way too many of us know entirely too well. Now look right through the glass in front of that car. There's a laundromat sign, just buzzing that same tired blue light it's buzzed for years. And there's this heavy, nagging thought sitting underneath all your stress that just won't leave you alone. That seemingly abandoned laundromat, a place you have literally never set foot inside, made more money last night while you were completely fast asleep than you made today while you were wide awake working. You know, there's a saying among investors who really get this. It goes, the businesses your brain has trained you to ignore are the ones quietly winning. And I want to say with absolute certainty that this isn't just some wild guess. It's not some fluffy motivational theory. This is the literal, tangible mechanics of how wealth actually works. Today, we're going to completely expose the psychological wiring that keeps most people steered entirely away from these crazy lucrative opportunities. So economists love talking about a risk premium, right? Well, we are looking at its totally overlooked cousin. It's called the Boredom Premium. Basically, it's the extra income you earn by operating a business that offers absolutely zero social currency or status. You are quite literally being rewarded for trading status for income. There is nothing cool to post on social media, nothing to brag about at a dinner party, unless you want to watch your friend's eyes instantly glaze over. And because nobody wants to do it, the field just stays wide open. The reason nobody wants to do it, it's not a lack of willpower, guys. It is purely a matter of biological wiring. Enter something called salience bias. Your brain's dopamine system, the exact same circuitry that lights up like a Christmas tree when you get a phone notification, it has this tendency to get its attention totally hijacked by exciting, novel stimuli. It completely ignores steady, predictable data. If a friend pitches you some shiny new app idea, boom, your brain lights up. But if that same friend says they bought a super dull self-storage facility, you feel nothing. Same potential financial return, but a completely different emotional signal. And guess what? Your brain always votes on the signal. Let's put some actual real-world numbers behind this. $44 billion. That massive, insane number is the annual revenue of the US self-storage industry, and that's spread across over 50,000 facilities. Just think about the reality of this business for a second. The average renter keeps paying every single month for well over a year, and the owner does absolutely nothing differently. There's no restocking, no daily supervision. The customer is literally just storing a couch. You aren't taking orders or serving fresh meals with a smile. It is purely predictable, unbelievably boring data. But hold on, here's where we really need to shift our focus. Because if you search for this stuff online, everyone's like, oh, just go buy a $2 million storage facility and get rich. Okay, but almost nobody watching this explainer is in a position to just go buy a $2 million commercial real estate asset today. The businesses that actually matter for beginners aren't those massive, unattainable ones. They're the small, slightly annoying ones. The ones with a full price tag sitting way under $3,000. Which brings us to a number we all know, and let's be honest, deeply resent. $3.22. Think about the last time you used an ATM and felt mildly robbed paying this average fee. Well, here is the really fascinating part. Every single cent of that fee goes straight to whoever owns that physical machine, not the big bank. If you've ever paid this, you have personally funded somebody else's Boredom Premium, and you probably never even learned their name. Now, here is the crucial reframe. When you buy an ATM for, say, $2,000 to $8,000, and you drop it in a local barbershop or a gas station, you aren't actually in the cash business. What you're really being paid for is monetizing dead space. You are taking that zero revenue corner by the front door that was making the shop owner exactly $0 a month, and you're flipping it. You're in the business of noticing the parts of a building that literally nobody else is monetizing yet. Okay, prepare for the biggest pattern interrupt of this entire explainer. Because most online gurus will aggressively tell you that laundromats and vending routes are totally booming right now. Well, according to IBIS World data, they are actually shrinking. The operator count for laundromats has been dropping by 1.5% every single year since 2021. And vending machine operators, they're shrinking even faster, down nearly 4% a year. Now, at first glance, this probably sounds like terrible news, right? But it's actually the exact opposite. Think of it this way. It's not a shrinking pie, it's just fewer forks. When operators leave an industry, maybe they burned out or finally retired, but the consumer demand stays completely steady, the business isn't dying, it's just consolidating. The surviving businesses simply inherit all the customers from the laundromat down the street that just closed its doors. People still have dirty clothes. It's the exact same pie, there are just fewer forks digging into it. The really staggering reality here is the continued revenue of those surviving operators. The laundromat industry still moves over $7 billion a year in the US across fewer than 18,000 locations, and the ones surviving this quiet, steady thinning out, they definitely aren't doing it by breaking their backs with hard physical labor. They are surviving entirely through automation. I mean, seriously, consider the remarkably low weekly owner involvement required here. 4 to 15 hours a week, that's it. That is all it takes to run these 24/7 locations. Because of modern card payment systems, remote monitoring apps, and automated fault alerts, a business that used to require an actual human standing behind a counter all day now essentially runs on a smartphone dashboard. And this exact same dynamic applies to another completely mind-numbingly boring asset, parking lots. $9.5 billion generated across roughly 12,000 operators. Think about it. There's no product, there's no spoilage, there is absolutely zero inventory, it is literally just paint on concrete. These businesses do not rely on customer service, they rely purely on location. Whoever claims the right corner first keeps the advantage. So I want to pause here and just slow things down for a second, because we really need to address an uncomfortable truth. If the math is this visible in public data, why on earth isn't everyone doing this? The barrier to entry isn't the business itself. It's definitely not the cost of the machine. The true barrier is entirely a psychological feeling. The answer lies deeply in how we are wired. Way back in 1979, researchers Kahneman and Tversky established something called prospect theory, which is basically an academic baseline for human wiring. It states that people feel the pain of a loss roughly twice as intensely as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. So walking away from a steady, predictable paycheck to buy some unglamorous ATM, that doesn't get weighed logically against the machine's mathematical probability of success. It gets weighed against the vivid, terrifying fear of losing your safe paycheck. The real reason these incredibly lucrative corners stay totally empty comes down to one core thing: the cost of what it feels like to be wrong in front of yourself. We are so hardwired to avoid the internal emotional pain of making a mistake that we will actively run away from mathematically sound, super boring opportunities. So let's loop this narrative right back to where we started today, back to that dark strip mall parking lot, that laundromat sign. It's still buzzing, but it isn't buzzing because the business is dying or neglected. That lack of maintenance is simply what a business running without its owner actually looks like. It is unattended, boring, unremarkable, and quietly outperforming absolutely everything you've ever been taught to find impressive. So what should you really take away from all this? Well, consider this your brand new wealth filter. Here are 3 core actionable takeaways to filter any future business ideas from now on. First, always remember your brain rewards novelty, not returns. You have to name that salience bias so you can outthink it. Second, recurring monthly revenue from a single customer will always out-earn the daily grind of hunting for new customers. And third, when operators shrink but the demand stays steady, that's not a warning sign. That is a bigger boredom premium for whoever has the guts to be left standing. But hey, before we wrap this up, I have a confession. There is one massive detail I left out of every single example today, totally on purpose. None of those owners, not the ATM owner, not the storage facility guy, not the laundromat owner, bought their assets outright in cash. Every single one of them used somebody else's money. So the real question is, how do the top 1% buy these unglamorous assets without using their own cash? Well, that dives into how wealthy people use debt as a compounding advantage rather than a trap, and that is exactly what we are going to be covering in our next explainer. Keep this question rolling around in your head, and I'll see you in the next one.